Hey, it's me again, your co-host, John Kennedy, and I'm sure you're missing the ensemble of Matt and Rich and myself. I know I am, but until we can sync up everyone's calendar, my aim is to keep showing up authentically and talking about lessons and experiences that I come across throughout my days. Now, today's episode is a reminder that I've been circling back to lately, which is this: you don't outgrow the basics. You don't hit a certain level in life, in business, parenting, success, where the fundamentals stop mattering. In fact, the more experience you gain, the more the basics actually start to matter. And I've felt this in a few areas of my life. I don't know if our Instagram algorithms are the same, but I keep coming across these baseball videos where it's professional players hitting off of a tee. And then it's basically just landing the importance of reminding our youth sports kids today to stay focused on the basics. Now, what's hilarious about that is this past weekend, my son and I were playing baseball in our backyard, and he told me to pitch to him and remove the tee because he didn't need the tee anymore, and that he already knows something else we were trying to work on and learn was how to tag somebody out properly with the ball and the glove. And he said he already knew how to do that, and he didn't need me to show him how. Now, props to my little guy for how far he's come in 2 seasons of T-ball. It's definitely my greatest joy, sidebar conversation, but it's my greatest joy at the moment watching him become more confident in a sport. It's so awesome. I will tell anybody who will listen to me that my favorite 2 hours of each week is the 1 hour spent coaching his team and then the other hour spent at his games coaching on Saturdays. But I couldn't help but think about this Instagram video as he was telling me he didn't need to hit off the tee anymore and he knew how to tag runners out. He's in T-ball. So, guess what we did? We hit off the tee. So insert cliche quote about that here, right? Go back to the basics, keep it simple, don't skip the reps that got you here. Now, what's interesting in this analogy of working with my son on T-ball, if it's hard for someone to hear that advice to stick to the basics, if they've been doing something for after 1 year, imagine how hard it is to hear this advice when you're 10 years or 20 years into your vocation or into your career. I love the 10,000 hours rule. If you aren't familiar with this concept, it's basically the notion of applying 10,000 hours into a practice or a trade, and it can earn you the ability to become the expert. It doesn't mean you'll be the expert, but it can earn you the ability to be an aforementioned expert in that area. But even the absolute best at their skill or at their trade or at their game, even the absolute best that have earned that badge of 10,000 hours or more will tell you that the basics are what allow them to stay on top of their game. We live in this culture that glorifies leveling up, and I get it. Growth is exciting, progress is motivating, but there's this trap in thinking that as you grow, you should graduate from the simple stuff. And you start maybe believing that that's for the beginners. Budgeting is for those people who don't have wealth yet. I have wealth already, so I don't need to budget. That doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. Stretching is for people who, are new to exercise and, they're not strong enough yet. And you need to stretch. Doesn't matter. I've been working out for, I don't know, 25 years. I've been doing physical fitness and weightlifting and stuff. I still stretch every time. And when I don't, I pay for it. So the truth is the basics don't go away. They scale with you. And the people who really excel, they're the ones who have a healthy respect for those fundamentals more than most. So someone that made me think of this recently is Rory McIlroy. I mean, he finally wins the Masters a couple months back. All the talent in the world, already a superstar, already made his mark on the game. And yet in every interview that I've seen of him leading up to it, he talked about going back to the fundamentals, his grip, his stance, his mindset, not reinventing his swing, basically just tightening up the basics. And, this guy's become the face of golf in recent years. And he's out there on the range. He's drilling the same swing because he's learned the same swing that he's learned since he was a teenager, because he's learned that consistency is what mastery actually looks like. I don't think he won the Masters because he found some secret move. And I think it's just a really great reminder for us that the higher you climb in your career, your profession, and just whatever area in life, your money, the more that the basics matter. So speaking of money, Like, let's go back to that. I mean, I think sometimes we'll talk with folks that are getting to know us and we're getting to know them, and they'll come in looking for like this complicated investment strategy with all these moving parts and moving pieces and wanting this like really super optimized tax hack. And we're going to open up LLCs and we're going to fund things and do all this crazy stuff. And like, yeah, I mean, we can absolutely get into that stuff and maybe it makes sense for the situation. But more often than not, the real power comes from mastering the basics. Spend less money than you make and automate your savings. That's it. It's the financial version of hitting off of the tee. It's not fancy, but it works every time. And you don't get to outgrow that. And if you think you have, and I bet that's happened a time or two in your life that you think you have, I would imagine that you get humbled pretty quickly. I know I have in my life. And so maybe it's about time to focus on those basics again and keep your focus, keep focused on doing those things to help you ultimately get where you want to be. So take an inventory now, like maybe pick one area of your life, fitness, money, family, business, I don't know, whatever it is. And then ask, am I skipping the basics here? And if the answer is yes, like no shame in that, just circle back, get back to it. There was a time in my life where I definitely abandoned the basics and I had to impose discipline on myself to find those basics again. And I did that by doing 75 hard. Now, I'm not shy to share that journey with you on this podcast. Lord knows you've heard me talk about it before if you've listened to the show before. And I shared that journey with you because it changed my life. More than once, by the way. I've done 75 hard 3 times now. And I know something like that could help you too, because success isn't built on what you graduate from. It's built on these daily habits that you can prove to yourself that you can master time and time again. So that's it for today's show. Super simple message. You don't outgrow the basics and you don't get to skip steps on the success ladder. So get back to what makes you great. Thanks for hanging with me today. I appreciate you being here. And I'd love for you to share this show with one friend that's in your circle that's focused on getting better. Take care, and we'll see you next week. Bye.